So this is the original Thunder Gridman from like the 90s, the deluxe version, I guess you'd call it that. And then this is the Ultra Act by Bandai Tamashii. And I heard people say it's not great, and yeah, I concur. It's terrible. I probably should have done more research before buying one. But wow, what a massive letdown. It's not a toy, I guess. It's for an adult collector, but it's really disappointing. Like, this is a toy for kids, but it's very robust, right? These arms are real simple. They just kind of slide on, right? Hardly any articulation whatsoever. Like, the arms can't even rotate, 90 degrees. That's how bad this thing is. But it doesn't fall apart, right? Like in the show, the gimmick works, right? This comes off. I forgot how this guy, it's been a while. Yeah, that's the clam shells on. That stuff comes off. Okay. These are just kind of like, there. They just snap on. They just kind of snap onto his shoulders. There we go. Okay. But Gridman's under there. This thing, man, I just want to punch the designer in the face. So this whole arm is only held on by this tiny little ball joint. It's super flimsy, right? There's some articulation, but this, like, what is this garbage? Like, it's attached to this backpack thing, which is only held on by these 4 pegs. This stuff falls off all the time. These little shoulder pauldron things, and they're only held on by these little tiny nipple things, but they don't click in. They just kind of sit there. They don't click in anything. So I thought, oh, okay, that's pretty bad. This whole head, I didn't realize that the Thunder Gridman set doesn't actually come with Gridman. What a huge letdown. You get this stupid plastic figure underneath that this is the only articulation, the shoulders. Open up the legs. None of this moves. It's all one giant piece of plastic. Huge, massive letdown. I mean, it's no different than the toy, right? At least you have elbow and ball joint articulation again, but for how expensive this thing is, I paid $60, and that's cheap compared to how much you get elsewhere. I passed on this in Japan. Probably could have gotten it for 40 bucks, and I guess it would be less of a sting, but man, $40 for this piece of garbage. Now I gotta go find Gridman, and he's over $100. I'm not paying over $100 for a Gridman. This thing is amazing. Now, this is SSSS Gridman, and it's from the Diaclone line, and it's way better than the Good Smile one. This, if you're a fan of Gridman, this is like the Gridman to get. He looks amazing, right? Super articulated, looks awesome. Things don't just fall off on it. And then, if you want to upgrade, you get this guy, Battles Gridman. Yeah, he's got some limited posability, but look, he can bend the knees. He can bend his knees. Like, why should I be amazed? It's 2024. Well, this thing came out, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, right? Like, his little fist things go back into this arm, and then they just slide, and they lock in onto his arm, his forearm. Not the most stable connections, but it can do it, right? And yeah, there's some liberties taken because this is Diaclone and not Gridman, but man, this is way better. I forget how much I paid for. I think I paid $120 for this, and it's got, I'm a huge Diaclone fan, and it comes with this huge ship too. So huge win. Now the armor doesn't do or turn anything, but it can combine with the jet. It just turns to a big old jet. But yeah, like, this thing is awful. The only cool thing, I guess, is the massive helmet it comes with. So when you do buy the Gridman figure, you can put the helmet on it. But you gotta pull a bunch of stuff off. His fists have to come off. The shoulders have to come off so you can add the armor. It's just not what I expect for something made, you know, in the 2000s and whatever that thing came out. Or whenever this thing came out. It's just like minimum effort. Something I'll complain about. The shoulder. This thing is only held on by these tiny, tiny pins, so it falls off all the time. Like, why would you design it like that? That's worse than like a model kit. So, even though Thunder Gridman, right, is not great, the parts for God Xenon do turn into the tank, the drill, and the jet. Whereas Ultra Act, it just does this. Right? The rest of the armor can't turn into any of these. That's for how much that thing costs. What a piece of junk.